All right. So at the beginning of this month, Heche was in a tragic car accident. Toxicology reports, they show that cocaine and fentanyl were in her system. Since coming out in a relationship with Ellen, she had had a long and public struggle with both mental health issues and addiction. This weekend, she was removed from life support and she passed away. So many people in our community share her struggle in secret. Our hot topic headline of the week, Heche becomes a warning about addiction and mental health.
You know, I think
what a downer, huh?
I think that really recognizing that, you know, she was one of the first people to really prominently come out as queer, and that sort of visibility for so many young queer people at that in that moment.
Lesbian, yeah,
is so important to be able to we talk about mirrors and windows, to be able to see yourself reflected back on a television screen is so impactful. To see, like, I can do that too. I can be that person too. I can also date Ellen DeGeneres. Like, that, you know what I mean? It's so impactful.
Yeah, and I don't think it's too bad. I don't think it's necessarily a warning. I think it's a reminder, because how many celebrities do we know that have tragically died, that have suffered from mental health issues?
Well, there's that Ezra Miller, the gay actor who's now going into like treatment because he's supposed to be in the new Flash movie.
Okay.
And big trouble. I mean, he's been getting in all sorts of trouble, and now they're shelving the movie and he's going into some kind of treatment.
That sucks. That sucks. And that, you know, it's very prevalent in the LGBTQ plus community. You know, I have 7.5 years sober, and I'm super proud of that because it was the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life, and it took about 4 years to even get that started. I would relapse and I would start and then I would stop. And you know, our community has liquor everywhere, has drugs everywhere. It's part of our normal everyday, you know, and it took me having to really hit bottom to know that I wasn't going to be around any longer. I would not be sitting with you boys today if I didn't take certain steps to save my life. And unfortunately, Heche had been battling this for more than 20 years. She was with Ellen back in 1996 or something. They were together for a couple of years, and rumors spread that, you know, both their drinking didn't make the relationship any better. You know, she has a history of, she was molested by her father, she was abused growing up, you know, but soon after breaking up with Ellen, she was arrested or something for like being high on ecstasy or like doing some crazy shit in the middle of LA one time. You know, she obviously has had a problem for a very long time, you know, and it finally caught up with her. Now, her family had releasing the reason for her death was brain something, you know. And so people were posting, oh yeah, Heche died of a car accident. No, bitches. Heche died of alcoholism. She died of addiction.
She was in that situation because she was high on something. Right?
Yes, and she wasn't. They found cocaine and fentanyl in her system. It's not something I'm just saying just because, you know. There's pictures of her a couple of hours before with a vodka bottle, which I know what a vodka bottle looks like because I carry them around a lot, right there in the cup holder of her car.
Yeah.
But then you have to wonder, where was somebody to get her for help? Where was someone to help her get the help that she needed? How come that never happened?
That's always a hard conversation to have because, you know, being in the public, there's a lot of pressure that comes along with that. And we only know them from the angle that we see on TV and movies, you know, and film and so on. And we all have friends and family that have been in this situation. It's always a very difficult conversation to have. And it's always very hard to receive that information as well. I don't know if, you know, because you publicly talk about, you know, your addictions and, you know, what you've been through, and you know, I don't know if family members or friends have ever approached you about it, but it's even hard.
Never.
You don't want to. You never want to have that conversation.
Well, and with somebody with a strong kind of attitude like I do, you know, and I've still asked my friends today, like, why didn't you tell me something? Why didn't you do something? And they were like, well, we just thought you were crazy and that it would just, you know, go away.
No, but even I catch myself because, like, knowing that you're sober, I mean, I even make the mistake sometimes because, you know, Saturday before we went to the show that we went to, you know, I was like, oh yeah, we can meet early and like have a drink at the bar. And I'm like, oh, maybe not. I'll have a drink at the bar. You know, like that type of thing.
But you can still go with friends.
No,
and
absolutely.
A friend can have a juice or a water or something.
But it always takes you back to that. You should know what your family and friends are going through. You should have these conversations, you know, and I feel like because of social media and because of, you know, the society that we live in, like we all live behind our phones and all of our social media profiles. And, you know, if you look at my Instagram and my Facebook, no one thinks I have a job. Everyone thinks that all I do is go to Broadway shows and concerts and eat at restaurants. That's it. That's all I do. You know, but no one actually really has a conversation with you to know, like, are you okay today? Like, how are you feeling today?
Well, that's it. Check in with people. That's an important part of it too.
Yeah.
Just even if you're not worried, just check in.
Yeah.
Because something might be happening that you can help.
What do you boys think?
I think that's why I'm so grateful of, for folks who have the privilege of being able to go to college, that so many colleges, especially public colleges, have really, really good programs for not only learning how to deal with addiction or understand the impact that might have and things about sexual health and consent and all these other things, but also how to approach that and when you see it in other people and how to speak up. And that's not just impactful for while you're in college when people are partying and doing whatever, but like beyond that, taking those skills and understanding, being able to see a framework. Sometimes a template can be very useful to see how can I have this conversation in a way that feels comfortable, that feels that and that's really going to be effective.
You might save somebody's life just by asking a question, just by asking, "Are you okay today?"
And this is This is a really popular thing in our community because we have a lot of just surface friendships. We have a lot of
people from the bar.
Yeah, from the bar. You meet up, you go out, stuff like that. There's a lot in our community. We don't really get to know our friends. I have so many friends that I don't even know who their parents are. It was
you don't even know their last name.
It was actually a funny story this past week. I was at one of the bars here in Wilton for supporting a friend of mine who is a drag queen. And there was a lady that was there. And I looked around and I was like, "What are you doing here?" And I went up to her. She's my receptionist, right? At my 9-to-5 job.
All right.
Had no idea that her son is a drag queen.
Oh my God.
Number two, had no idea that my friend's mom never met her before. And it's like, how crazy is how small our world is. And now I see her at work every day. And I'm like, she's my work mom. She's your actual mom. And we've been always friends, for years. And it just makes it even closer. It just makes those connections. But it's like, do you really know the people that your friends? You call your friends?
Well, and is your relationship based on drugs and alcohol?
Yeah.
Because you're a totally different person without these substances. You just are.
Yeah.
And some people feel, especially in our community, a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of drugs takes those inhibitions away. And you're like comfortable with yourself. All of a sudden you don't feel ugly. You don't feel overweight. You feel hot.
Yeah.
And we're constantly killing our gay boys. Oh, you're not skinny enough. You're not young enough. You're not hot enough. And so then they turn to these things to make them feel okay enough to go out to the bars.
Yeah.
So easy. So easy
really
to fall.
Such a hard conversation though, because even when I agree with you that there's a lot of surface relationships and friendships, but when they are actually deeper, it's really hard to go there because your friends almost expect your acceptance and resent you at times when you don't take them for what they are.
Yeah.
So you really have to overcome that also.
Yeah.
Well, and who wants to lose their friends? When I stopped drinking, one of the first things that they tell you in AA, that you only have to change one thing, everything. And that's people, places, and things. So these are people, places, and things that you got drunk at, that you partied at, that you looked for your drugs at, whatever it is, you have to eliminate all those things. And in the process, I had to eliminate 90% of my gay boys because that's all they wanted to do. That was part of our relationship. Our relationships were surface. It wasn't like you and me that we talk every day. It was just when we went out to party and that was it. And a few of them stopped being my friend.
And it really makes
Stop being my friend, and it made me feel like so awful. I'm beginning a new journey. I'm trying to stay sober, and people that were so close to me said that they couldn't be around me. It took some work for me to know that that was their problem, not mine. They had issues also with drinking that they just weren't ready to sit with.
Yeah, and it's incredible because when you come back, when you think about it, like you and I are friends, outside of this platform. And when I think of the last 7 days, Faye's the only person that has messaged me in the last 7 days to ask me if I'm okay. Or if I'm having a good day. So thank you.
Because I love you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm going to cry. All right, let's end the show.
Watch the Faye Watch Show every Monday at 9 a.m.
I'm broke, so these lashes are from the dollar store, so don't make me cry.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.